British territory where Carlos Bulozan once lived to tell the story of the rain sweat.
All right, we're here back for
Here we are.
episode 34. 34. That's unbelievable. I'm Kevin.
The Felix Hernandez episode, baby.
Yes, the Felix Hernandez episode. King Felix, who had a great showing on his first Hall of Fame ballot. He'll be around, and there's even whispers
He
that
stays on the ballot.
there's momentum already building for his case, which is exciting. Did I already say I'm Kevin and that's
people
Brian?
talk about it like he's
Did I already say that?
I
I
don't know.
It doesn't matter. Now you know. Yeah. What do people say about Felix Hernandez?
People are now saying it's a matter of time versus I don't know if he'll make it. So to your point about momentum building. So
Yeah, it's
pretty
January
cool.
January 26th. Are you chomping on the bits for Mariners baseball, or are you kind of okay just chilling with Husky basketball and other basketball and the Super Bowl in a couple weeks?
It's both.
Yeah.
So here was my week last week, Kev. This is what I did. This will answer your question. I went to the Kraken on Monday afternoon.
Win
I
or
went
lose?
The Kraken won 6-4.
Win.
I went to 2 high school basketball games that night. This was on Martin Luther King Day. I followed this with a Wednesday UW Iowa women's basketball game.
That was a loss.
Friday UW men's basketball game.
That was also a loss.
I will be going back to the UW women tomorrow. Breaking news, just found out.
Great. Hopefully
It's
they win.
awesome. It's a big game.
Yeah.
You can read about it in our notebook, which will be out 6 a.m. on Monday.
That's great. That's
Probably
great.
before this airs. So
Yeah.
just
That's
go to
awesome.
the notebook, open your email, and you can read all about it.
There you go. Or go to ctownsports.com.
Oh, exciting.
It's just sports.org. I'm afraid I'm going to break the website if I try to change it permanently,
That's fair. Yeah.
but when I have time.
This is a part answer to your question. So
Yeah.
I'm clearly engrossed in what's happening now in the Seattle sports scene, but I am also giddy to watch the Mariners. And it's not because they've added anyone that I care about yet. Although I keep reading about Mariners bloggers saying it's coming in the next 48 hours. And I don't know what that means, and it gets me excited. Something's coming. There seems to be some smoke somewhere, but who knows what that is. So that's exciting. But I'm excited because the Mariners have a starting rotation in which every day you turn on the TV, they can win the game. And we've talked about that before, and that makes baseball exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, the last time I felt that about a team was probably, well, the Husky offense with Michael Penix. That's an example. But then the Seahawks defense in the heyday, you
Yes.
always felt you could win a game because you that was the one team where you felt, oh my God, they're going to get an interception. It's just bound to happen, right? And it always would happen, and you'd get the big turnover. So that's an exciting aspect of the Mariners. We're starting off optimism. We're infusing Seattle sports fans with Mariners optimism on January 26th or
That's right.
whenever. So let's move into 4 downs.
4 downs.
So much news, right? We're actually going to beat all the radio shows to all this news.
That's true.
So they don't
That's
even
true.
show up to work till 7 a.m. They're going to try to cover all of this. If you open this up at 6 a.m. tomorrow, you're going to get all of the Seattle sports news with our hot takes.
We had a
lukewarm takes.
draft for our 4 downs this morning that is different than now because it's a breaking news day. And the first down, the first news, the biggest one is Jewell Loyd has been traded from the Seattle Storm.
It was a Shams bomb. I got
It
it.
was,
Because I was like, why is he reporting on the WNBA? But apparently, if you're the NBA insider, you get all the scoops.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to trade or if he's going to report on like a minor trade.
Yeah.
But when Kelsey Plum and Jewell Loyd are in the deal,
yeah,
Shams is getting involved. So
all right, so let's start with the basics here.
Yep.
Okay, what is the trade?
Okay. So the Seattle Storm are trading Jewell Loyd away, and the 9th pick in the draft is going to the Sparks.
So the Storm are losing those things.
Loyd goes to Vegas. That goes away from Seattle, and the 9th pick goes to the Sparks.
So the Sparks.
Kelsey Plum goes to the Sparks, and gives up the 13th pick. So Vegas now has the 13th. Sorry, Vegas is the 9th pick. Sparks have the 13th. Seattle gets the number 2 pick in the draft, in a good draft. And they also get a reserve center. I want to make sure I say her name. Lee Yaru. Yaru, I watched last year, and I like her game. She's 6'7". She's like a 5-point per game player. I read some analysis that had a good point. She's basically a league minimum or close to league minimum player, which matters when you're trying to fill a bench. So we could talk about more about the Seattle Storm roster construction, but the big takeaway is the Storm no longer have Jewell Loyd and now have the number 2 pick. There is one more part of the trade that is not reported at first, but now has been. The Storm are getting the Aces first round pick next year.
They're going to have 2 first-round picks?
They're going to have 3, Kev.
So that's even better.
So I'll tell you more.
I thought it was just the number 2.
I'm tell you more about speculation of why that might matter in a second. But let's just go with the basics first.
Okay.
So how would you grade the Storm on this trade? Give it A minus, B plus, B. Let's go back to your teacher days.
Yeah. So my immediate take, and I posted this on social media, was that this was a great return for the Storm. Because they were basically backed into a corner with a star player that didn't want to play for them. Right. And so they were already they were bargaining from a position where every team knew that Jewell Loyd was on the block and that she didn't want to play for the team that she was on. So to think that they could get the literally the only better thing would have been the number 1 overall pick, which is via Paige Beckers, right? And so that's the only trade that would have been better, and they didn't get that, obviously, but they're going to get the second best player, whoever they determine that is. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. I typed in 2025 WNBA mock draft, and I realized Juju Watkins is too young, so she won't be.
She's not in the 2026 either.
Yeah, so she won't be in the next 2 drafts. But I'm sure there's someone that's going to emerge that they'll find out, like, okay, this is someone A, we can build around, or B, this person can be an immediate contributor, or C, both A and B. So I like that they're getting the number 2 overall pick, and then, like you just said, they're going to have 2 more. They're going to get the Aces first round pick as well, which is big. Is that pick set the number?
No, because they do a lottery just like everybody else. And the Aces, it'll be based on their record of the last 2 years. So it'll probably be the last or second to last pick of the first round.
Yeah.
No, it'd be low. Not low in a bad way in terms of picks, right?
Yep.
But here's the number 2 pick. Most people would say it's down to 2 people already. So Notre Dame's Olivia Miles, who is people are excited about. In fact, Reddit Sparks fans were pissed they made this trade. They don't want Kelsey Plum. They wanted Olivia Miles, the number 2 pick. So whenever somebody else's fan base is mad they're getting Kelsey Plum, then that's it at least has buzz. And Olivia Miles is really, really good. She was out last year with injury. She's on a Notre Dame team that is so fun. They have 3 guards that are so good with Citron, Hannah Hidalgo, and Olivia Miles. I would love Olivia Miles. Okay. The other one is from USC. She used to be at Stanford. Her name is Kiki Irifin. I always say her name wrong. She's a shot blocker. She can shoot out she doesn't really have 3-point range as far as I understand. When I've watched her, she's more like mid-range. She's an elite rebounder. She's, a really good post player. Yeah, she doesn't even shoot threes. Here's some game logs for her. She had 28 points against Penn State, 21 against Maryland, 14 against Indiana. She's playing with Juju, right? So she's legit. It seems a little redundant if you re-sign Ogumike and you have Ezi Magabor. Would you really want Irifan also? Another post? It just is redundant. But is Olivia Miles redundant with Skylar Diggins Smith? But Skylar Diggins Smith is old. So I'm all in on Olivia Miles number 2, which ESPN gave the Storm an A- on this trade, and Sparks got a B-, and I think Vegas got a B or a B+. I was not that high when I first heard it because I didn't like giving up the 9th pick, but number 2 pick's legit. I mean, you're getting a game changer. And I think what I had to come back to was Jewell Loyd wasn't going to play here. So you had to get something.
You had to get
And if
something
you
in
can
return.
get a top 2 pick, then that's awesome, right? And remember, they traded the 4 pick last year, which could have been Rickea Jackson. So it's like a reset on that to get younger. They also shed a max contract. In fact, Jewell Loyd had, I think, the biggest contract in the WNBA. So it allows them to re-sign. I saw this. This is not my analysis. I don't know the cap that well. They said they could re-sign Agumake. They could core Gabby Williams, which they did, even if she took the core offer, which means she's making like $200,000 a year, which is a lot in the WNBA. And they could still go get a free agent, like a pretty top end free agent. So all of a sudden, if you have Gabby Williams, Ezzy, Agumake, Skylar Diggins Smith, Olivia Miles, and I don't know, an Erica Wheeler from Indiana or somebody like that, you have a legit starting 5. I don't know if you can win a championship, but you also can build around Olivia Miles.
The Aces get kind of weaker. Well, no. They don't get kind of weaker, but I'm just thinking Kelsey Plum's a little
They
better
get weirder.
than Jewell Loyd.
Well, they get
but
weirder because she does different things. Jewell Loyd is like Jackie Young, and a little Chelsea Gray's a better point guard. She passes the ball better, but they just have like 3 scoring guards who all do similar things to me, whereas Kelsey Plum did different things for them. I mean, they have elite scorers left and right, but I don't know that necessarily makes them better than having Kelsey Plum.
yeah,
The Sparks immediately get better. They become a legit playoff contender with Brink coming back, Rickea Jackson, Hamby, and Kelsey Plum. And Kelsey Plum wanted to go to LA. I think she wanted, some different spotlight and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And good for her. So here's the twist, Kev, though. Okay, here's the twist. I am not reporting this. Obviously, I'm not a reporter. Not like you with your sources. ESPN put this in their article, and you probably know this well enough from journalism stuff.
yeah.
ESPN doesn't put this in unless there's some sort of possibility. Okay, are you ready for this?
Yep.
Okay, this is gonna blow your socks off. Ready?
I'm
Okay.
ready.
It's coming. It's coming. What if Paige Beckers refuses to play in Dallas? They threw that in the article, and to me, I never
Why
even
would
thought
you
about
write
it.
that? Yeah.
Right, unless
And-
there's a little hint of something.
And has that ever happened? And would she? Because there's been enormous precedent
So
of
here's the
UConn
thing.
players succeeding in Seattle.
She loves Nika Mule.
Yeah.
Not that she plays, but they're like good buddies. It's
She has a mentor.
it's a better basketball market. It's a more liberal city than Dallas. There's some things that are interesting.
She has a mentor living right there.
Yep, Sue's there all the time. Okay, so all this is interesting, but listen to this. So why could Paige Beckers, who's clearly, like, to me, she's a game changer. Olivia Miles is awesome. I just think Paige is she's not Juju Watkins and she's not Caitlin Clark, but she's pretty close to that tier, right? In terms of game changer. She could go back to UConn for a 6th year because of COVID and injury. So she has the possibility to not come out. So she does have leverage to tell Dallas she doesn't want to go there.
And
Dallas then could just draft someone number 1.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know what Paige's timeline would have to be for that, right? And all that kind of stuff, because then, like, if Dallas didn't take her, it'd be weird. Anyway.
Let me tell you this.
Hold on. This is where the draft picks come in. This is what ESPN talked about. I didn't know this. So Seattle has 3 first-round picks next year. They have their own. They have the Sparks from the trade from last year. The Sparks are a borderline playoff team, but that could be potentially a lottery pick and they have the aces. So could they give Dallas, hey, Dallas, she won't play for you. Here's the number 2 pick. You can have Olivia Miles, who's awesome, or Kiki, who's awesome, right? And then we'll give you the Sparks pick next year. Like,
Okay.
if you're Dallas, it's not the worst thing in the world. Anyway, I doubt that's going to happen. Maybe it will. Paige has the power here, but for ESPN to write this in their
That's
summary of the
insane.
trade made me very intrigued.
Yeah.
So now I'm giddy because I'm just waiting for Paige to start leaking stuff that says she won't play in Dallas.
Okay, so here's the crazy thing. We already talked about rookie salaries. So if you are a top 4 pick, you're making around 76,000 in the WNBA, which is robbery.
Yep.
Beckers is easily making way more at UConn. Like she's got to be $1 million at least.
Oh yeah.
Which is, yeah, I mean, that is a huge difference.
She also has her own shoe already.
And she has an equity in the Unrivaled League.
Yes.
So she's comfortable. She doesn't need to jump. I mean, she'll lose money if she goes out.
She will. She will for her rookie contract. She'll lose money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, she could. I mean, she could decide that.
Wild.
I just think now I'm like, okay, Paige Beckers or Olivia Miles. Like, great. There is a French center that I don't remember her name that everyone's intrigued by, who they say, what if the Storm took a gamble on her? And that would bother me because she seems like a project. And I like you said, I want the bridge. We got these older players probably if NECA resigns and you got a decent core. I want to bridge it. I don't want to like have old players and then just a project for 4 years that we won't see get good. So,
yep. First down. That was good. All right,
yeah.
let's go to a second down. Also in the news, the most unsurprising thing ever happened. Ichiro was voted in the Hall of Fame. Now, there are a few interesting tidbits about this. I mean, I guess the biggest interesting tidbit is some person didn't vote for him, which means he was one vote shy of being unanimous. And this is not a new phenomenon. Like Ken Griffey Jr. wasn't unanimous, and you'd think they're just so sure things, right? There was no doubt that Ichiro was a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt that Griffey was. I mean, maybe one person just hates Seattle. Maybe it's the same voter.
It might be. Who knows?
Um,
Mariano Rivera was unanimous, which is whatever.
Yeah.
Griffey and Ichiro both should have been. Ichiro had the perfect Ichiro response. Did you see it?
Yeah, he was in the press. He said he wants to sit down and have a drink with this person.
Yeah. Just like great. Just a great Ichiro.
Yeah.
Like subtle moment.
The other thing that's interesting is Ichiro, for someone that's historically been maybe viewed as a little more closed off, and whether that's a cultural thing or whether that's just the press kind of layering that on of their frustration on him. He's been very open, very loose around all of this. And I don't know if that's just come with time or not playing anymore, but it's kind of nice to read stories or read quotes from him that kind of reveal more of his personality, right? We understand him because he's been around for so long.
No, he gave us stuff when he played. Two of the best quotes of all time.
Yeah.
One is when they had to go do a makeup game in Cleveland, and he said, if I have to go back to Cleveland, I'm going to punch myself in the face. I think that's what he said. And then his second one was when he got A-Rod gave Tom Brady Ichiro's number. And Tom Brady texted him. And he said, "Who the F is Tom Brady?" And he probably knew who Tom Brady was. He just knew he was being funny. So but you're right. He's much more open post career. I love that he'll be at spring. He'll definitely be at spring training. When I went down to spring training with Felix a couple years ago, we saw Ichiro just kicking it on the fields. It was awesome.
Yeah. So are you going to buy tickets to the retirement jersey the jersey retirement ceremony? I think it's set for August 9th to retire his 51 jersey.
It's my sister's birthday, so maybe celebration. I don't know. I feel like the tickets would be very expensive. They're probably sold out already.
Maybe we need to do a Seatown Sports live episode
hmm.
and just watch the retirement ceremony with our 10 listeners.
I think we're more than 10. We're killing it right now. I don't I think I have some regrets of I was out of town for the Felix Hernandez
Yeah.
what was it, the Mariners Hall of Fame? Because they didn't retire his number. They did the retirement for the Hall of Fame or whatever. And maybe if they retire his number, I'll be able to go. But Ichiro's speech will be funny. That'll be worth it for sure. I don't know if I'll go. I'll definitely watch it though, for
Yeah.
sure. But we can maybe we'll be on YouTube by then and we can do that.
Okay,
Maybe.
so I'm gonna put something out here for you.
Okay.
There's 4 giveaways related to Ichiro's Hall of Fame weekend.
Yep.
All right, so that's August 5th through 10th. They're gonna have 4 different ones. You tell me which one you want the most.
Okay.
Okay, August 5th through 7th, they're gonna have Ichiro Funko Pops. First 10,000 fans each day. Now it's not clear whether they're gonna be different Funko Pops. That's interesting.
Yep. I think
August
they're the same. I'm pretty sure they're the same.
Okay. August 8th, you get a 2004 replica jersey in honor of the 262 hit season. First 20,000 fans.
Yep.
And I lied. There's only three things, and then August 9th is the ceremony, and then the day after, Ichiro Hall of Fame plaque.
Yeah.
First 20,000.
I would want the jersey.
The jersey.
I don't need more stuff. I have way too many like Mariners bobbleheads that take up
Yeah.
a shelf, and I don't want to get rid of them, but I don't want to add to them either, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I want my kids to have a shelf, and I can add it to theirs.
Yeah.
Ichiro's not like I have good memories, but he doesn't give me like core Mariner memories. He's not my favorite Mariner. He's not even probably in my top 5 to be honest. And that's probably sounds like a slam on Ichiro, but I don't like geek out as some people do. Some people just absolutely love him. So
All right. So the last thing I want to bring up about this jersey retirement thing.
yeah, you
is-
tweeted about this.
So my first reaction was like, "What about Randy Johnson?" And
That was we've talked about it on the pod.
Yeah, we've
It's
talked about this.
100% a legit reaction.
Okay, so the bare minimum to get your jersey retired is that you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And so Ken Griffey Jr. got his number retired, and I think the waiting on Randy Johnson was because everyone knew Ichiro was going to go in. So Ichiro, they announced that they were going to retire his number, and my reaction was like, "What about Randy Johnson?" And I posted this on social media, and
Which we've talked about many times. Yeah.
And you agree with me that his
Yes.
number should also be retired, and we were speculating like, what if it's a situation?
Remember we talked about a joint weekend, like
Yeah.
a Friday, Sunday?
He is number 14 on our top 100.
Yeah.
And our top 100, everyone, has been endorsed by Danny O'Neill. Danny O'Neill,
A real
posted
reporter.
a real reporter, posted our list and said, "This is
Also,
a good
Sherman
list."
Alexie has read our top 100.
Yeah,
Famous author. So
this isn't a made-up list.
what did the Twitter people say to you, Kev?
Yeah, so
Can you read a few for
yeah,
us?
I'll read a few. Fantasy football champion GZ. What about him? Question mark. You mean the Diamondback? Question mark. Same question. Question mark. Question mark. Seriously? Not a real Mariners fan, eh?
That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
What about him? He lost that right when he wore a Diamondback uniform.
That's the one that I think is the most interesting.
Yeah.
That's dumb, but it's interesting, right? Because Ichiro wore a Yankees uniform. He wore a Marlins uniform.
Yeah.
And people love Ichiro here. Ken Griffey Jr. forced his way out of this city by trade, came back as a 40-something-year-old, and then people forget, in the
fell
middle
asleep.
of the night, he drove to Florida and quit on his team. And people are just like, Griffey's great, right? Randy Johnson asked to be traded because the Mariners wouldn't give him the money he wanted. They traded him to the Astros. They got a great return. Freddie Garcia was an awesome pitcher for us. Carlos Guillen had that bunt that sent us into the divisional or past the divisional round. It was a good trade. We didn't know he was going to go to the Diamondbacks and have like historically amazing seasons. Should he go in the Hall of Fame as a Diamondback? Absolutely. He was phenomenal there.
Yeah, like
Should
couple
the Mariners
slams.
also retire his jersey or acknowledge that he wore 51? Yes, they should. And what pisses me off, Kev, I'm backing you up, is the person who says, "Are you a serious Mariners fan?" or whatever it is. That person is a joke. Okay? They're an idiot. They're just going to go on here and say, like, "Oh, Ichiro." People who just say Ichiro don't really watch the Mariners.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
do you know who Mike Moore is, my dude? Do you know who David Bell is? No, you don't. And let me tell you about Randy Johnson. Okay? Number 2 all time WAR for pitchers, Mariners history. Tied for the best ERA all time, Mariners history. 3rd all time in wins. 1st all time in hits per 9 innings pitched. 1st in strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. He is 3rd all time in innings pitched. He is 2nd in complete games. He is 1st by a long ways in shutouts. Randy Johnson is arguably the best pitcher in Mariners history just for his Mariners time.
Yeah.
So people need to stop it. It's
And
ridiculous.
you didn't even get like the touchy feely, right? You gave us the numbers,
Yeah.
but he provided literally the best moments.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
arguably the Edgar has some moments, but Randy Johnson, he was so key to the 1995 run. If you love 1995, Randy Johnson is your dude.
Yeah,
right?
this person who's tweeting at you doesn't know 1995.
Maybe he wasn't alive during.
No, and they
1995.
didn't care to look at the history. You know
Yeah.
what? Like when I talk about the Seahawks and I talk about Kurt Warner, I don't remember watching Kurt Warner, but I respect the Seahawks and the history, and so I learn
Yeah.
about it.
Maybe
so this
we need to
dude on
educate-
Twitter needs to learn something. And I
Maybe-
almost replied, but then I didn't want to get into Twitter. war.
Maybe we should send him our list, and maybe that no, it's just
No, I'm
feeding
going to
into
send
this.
him all these stats I gave him. Not to mention, were you there in the Kingdom in 1995 like I was when Randy Johnson came out of the bullpen on 2 days rest to Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses? It was a top 5 live moment of my life. Wedding, birth, Metro Championship as a coach, Randy Johnson walking in. I don't know if that's true.
Episode 34, number 6.
The slide was better. All right.
All right, that was a great second. Now let's go to third down. Third down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's about the Seahawks, but I can't even believe that this didn't even make. I don't know if you wiped this out, but Pete Carroll is going to coach the Raiders
true.
next year.
That's true. I was
but
going
let's-
to put it in our tweets, but then I decided not to. Here's the fun thing about Pete Carroll and the Raiders. What is Sean Payton at age 72 is the youngest coach in the division.
Sean Payton is 72.
I think this is the tweet I saw. So Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh are tied for the youngest. 72 might not be the right age. Hold on, let me find this.
No, he's
I'm
61.
aging all of them.
He's
Okay,
61.
sorry, 61, which is still like you're near to retirement age. I think Pete's 72. So Peyton and Harbaugh are 61, and they're the youngest coaches in the division. Meanwhile, Mike McDonald is 37 or whatever he is, 34, whatever he is. He's ridiculously young.
Yeah.
So Seahawks hired an offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Gary Kubiak.
No, it's his son. I wrote the wrong name.
Oh, God.
Klint Kubiak. Gary's his dad. Gary was a coach for a long time in the NFL. It's his son, Klint. So Klint Kubiak is the Saints OC right now. And this is a hire that has football people excited for the Seahawks, which I think is good.
I'm excited about Grubb. Sorry. Continue.
You're excited about Grubb?
I was.
Oh,
I was,
yeah. Yeah. I think here's the thing about any offensive coordinator. Like when they hire him, everyone's excited because you can always look to the things they did. Here's the thing that worries me a little bit. He's never had a top 10 offense. He was the Vikings and Saints offensive coordinator. He's been a passing game coordinator. He's been a quarterback's coach, but in his time as OC, he's never had a top 10 offense. Now, he was just rolling out with Derek Carr this year on the Saints, so
Yeah.
Derek Carr's not very good. He did lead Kirk Cousins to great success. Justin Jefferson had a great year. Here's why people think he was hired, and I'm going to credit Corbin Smith, who works for Sports Illustrated for the Seahawks. He's a great beat writer. They just actually announced he's not going to be able to do that at Sports Illustrated anymore because Sports Illustrated is going like more
Render.
more AI or some nonsense. So Corbin Smith, I'm going to give him credit. He's great. We should hire him with our fake money. The Saints ran 12 personnel, which is multiple tight ends, 30% time last year, and 21% two backs in the backfield. Sorry. Yeah. Two backs 21% of the time. Okay. The Ravens are the only other team in the NFL that had top 6 percentages in those two. So you think about it, just visualize two tight ends or two running backs. You're talking about running the football, right? That's like power football, which is clearly what Mike McDonald wants to do.
Which is so ironic.
Why?
Because that's what Pete Carroll was all about.
That's true.
Pete
But he
Carroll
was, well,
he
you're
only
right.
got fancy because of the pressure to get fancy. If
Yeah.
he could do what that's about to happen, then
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
uh,
they also ran 20% of their pass plays were play action, which is totally what. So they're like going back to Pete Carroll offenses, which kind of makes sense. Like Mike McDonald actually isn't that far away from Pete Carroll. He just runs a newer defensive scheme than Pete Carroll does, right?
Yep.
He wants to play the kind of football Pete Carroll likes to play. So, I'd be happy if they could run the ball. It's still going to come down to making the offensive line better. So until that happens, who cares who the offensive coordinator is?
Do you find it interesting that his brother is the OC for the 49ers?
Kubiak's brother is?
Yeah.
Oh,
Klint
interesting.
Kubiak is
I didn't
the
know that.
offensive coordinator for the 49ers.
That
By the way,
family, is it nepotism or are they actually good at
they
football? I don't
both
know.
went to Regis Jesuit High School in
Oh.
Aurora, Colorado.
Oh, nice. Did you know Regis Jesuit in Colorado has a boys division and a girls division?
I was just literally talking about this with a friend on the way to the Santa Clara game. He was explaining to me that there's two different schools.
Yeah.
And
It's
I was
not
like,
that they're two
do they
different,
have-
literally two different schools. They're the same school with a boys hall and a girls hall. And
Okay.
when I went to Jesuit things with these people from the school, I was like,
Yeah.
well, isn't that dumb? And they would get
They
very
have
defensive.
two separate administrations, though.
Yes.
But this is my question. Do they have two different athletic directors?
Yes.
See, that's crazy to me because
So here's what's crazy, Kev. This is what the people want to hear. This is
Yeah.
what's great. From my friends at Regis, Colorado, they said that they have a courtyard where the boys and girls can like
yes,
mingle.
yes.
But the teachers told me that what would happen is they would always just find people making out in the courtyard.
That's
They hadn't
hilarious.
seen the opposite sex or for the whole day or something.
Shout
Yeah.
out to Danny. Danny, if you're listening, this is a shout out to you because we had this exact conversation on the way to the Santa Clara game. And
It's a good sports school. They're a good
weirdly
sports school.
enough, Regis, I mean, they pumped out two offensive coordinators. There's only 32 of them.
Yeah.
And they're brothers. So it's definitely nepotism.
I mean,
without
it
a
could.
doubt.
You're right.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the world we live in, Kev, right?
Here's my next question for you.
Are we still on third down?
We're still on third down, but I just have to ask you this because it's
Yeah.
related to Pete Carroll.
Okay.
Do you think his son will join him?
I know that's the big question in UW, right? I've already seen people who are like, get rid of him. It's fine. Other people totally defending him. It's classic social media.
Yeah.
The rumor I saw was that Pete Carroll was going to bring Daryl Bevel to be his OC, which makes sense. They have a connection.
Yeah, that was the OG. Yeah, original. I don't think he goes. I mean, he's not even calling plays for the Huskies. So
yeah, I feel like this is the best place for him to grow.
Yeah.
But maybe he wants to work for dad. Maybe he doesn't want to work for dad. Not in a bad way. Just, it's good to go do it for someone else. I kind of hope he doesn't. The Huskies certainly need some stability with some of their coaching losses and different things. But fourth
Good
down?
stuff. Fourth down. Let's move.
All right.
Basketball recruiting, mixing it up.
Okay, well, it's only recruiting, Kev, because as I told you, I went to the women's game and the men's game this week.
Yeah.
The men also lost to Oregon on Tuesday. The men are now 1-8 in the Big Ten.
They had a gauntlet, though. They definitely had a gauntlet.
Yeah, but here's something I found out today I didn't know. I started thinking, it's almost February. And after February comes March, and I love March when it comes to college basketball. I thought, well, maybe the Huskies will go on a run. Husky men. Maybe they'll build something. they looked better against UCLA. Like they had some offense. They're just not good enough. They're not a good enough team. They don't have good enough players. They can't shoot. UCLA is better, defends like hell. Mick Cronin's an absolute psychopath. But they're a better team.
Yeah, I fell asleep
So
during the game.
it did start at 8
It was
p.m.
so late. All right,
Yeah.
continue.
It's fun live. It was a good environment. I have a rant about it later. Only the top 15 teams make the Big Ten tournament. So sadly, the Husky men might not even be on the conference tournament. That's kind of depressing, actually.
I don't like that. I think everyone should make the tournament, no
I
matter how.
don't. 18? No. Let's cut off the crap.
I love it when you have pointless games on the first day, though. Like
They
the
still
WC's
will. It'll still be 15 and 10 seed. Although in both leagues, men and women, it'll be pretty good because
Oh my
the
God,
leagues are really
they
deep.
might not make the Big Ten
They got to go on a
tournament.
run. They have teams they can beat now, right? But they got to go on a run.
I really thought they'd be good enough to be in the top 15.
All right. So here's the spin on it. Here's our fourth down. Is it good enough that the ESPN has them as the 16th best recruiting class in the country? Not just like,
Yeah.
good in the Big Ten. Like we're talking top 25 class.
Well, they're number one on 24/7 in the Big Ten.
Yeah. Is it enough for Danny Sprinkle? I mean, he's not going to get fired, right? I mean, he has
Yeah.
this great class, but is it enough for Husky fans to remain hopeful and to believe in Sprinkle and to believe that this might turn?
No, you gotta buy some. You gotta buy two pieces. You gotta buy one mate. You gotta buy another like great Osibor in the portal, or two. I think you need two.
I mean, for what? Yeah, to be
You need
good, but like
experience.
just to.
You
I
can't just
agree.
roll
Well,
out freshmen.
they're not going to roll out freshmen. Zoom Diallo will be back unless he goes in
Oh
the
yeah,
transfer
and
portal.
then that dude, the 7-footer that like looks like Giannis in JUCO.
Yeah, him, Traore, and then also
Yeah.
the French dude who hasn't played yet, who they just signed, and your man Tyler Harris is going to be back. That guy is not going to the NBA. He
We s-
looks awful.
We sound like tinfoil hats though, like the French dude, the guy that plays from JUCO.
No, my point is, I think they're collecting a kind of a potential weird,
Juggernaut.
awesome, no, just awesome amount of talent. It's just what can they do with it? Is it the right mix? So I'm trying to remain hopeful for next year. I do like going to home games because they play so much better at home and it's competitive and fun. And the
Yeah.
games are fun for the most part. So
Yeah.
on the flip side, with the women, really quick, they're 4-4. They're right in the mix. They have a big game against Indiana tomorrow. But they had a big game against Iowa, who was coming in at 2-6, and Iowa absolutely blew the doors off the Huskies. Just crushed them. It was
crushed.
never close. And here's two things Iowa did, because I was sitting in the third row, thanks to our friend Justin, a loyal listener. Probably our
Man,
number
if
one
I'm in
listener.
Seattle. I gotta go. We gotta
Yeah.
go to a game together.
Yep. Allison O'Grady is a 6'3" post for Iowa, and she just absolutely beasted our posts, EK and Daniels. Like, just crushed them. And then they started hitting threes. They were 8 of 8 from 3 in the first half, which is insane. So Iowa's hot, but they took away Sellers and Ladine. They really made it hard for them to do things. And the Huskies don't have other players who can score right now. They should, but they don't. These other guards are reluctant to shoot, or they're feeling like they're in a slump, or they're lacked confidence. And so I wonder what's going to happen if other teams start really. I mean, why wouldn't you? Those two are really good. Take them away and make other people do stuff. So I'll be intrigued to see how the Huskies respond. In a similar way to the men, none of these, their posts will be gone next year, but their guards are all back. And then they add a top 20 recruiting class in the country. They have the number 21 player in the country coming from Washington. Bryn McCaughrey. I never say her name right. I saw some highlights of her. She's legit. Like, she's insane. She's 6'3", but she'll be a freshman. She's not going to be ready to guard in the post. So they need to hit the transfer portal as well. But I really hope they can finish 9-9 and make the Big Ten. Well, they'll be in the Big Ten women's tournament, obviously. But then they will make the NCAA, I think, if they finish 9-9. So,
Which is Pretty awesome.
Yeah. Now, this is an interesting one. I want to ask you this question. So when I was looking at the brackets, right? 15 teams make the tournament for the Big Ten. If you're the 8 or 9 seed, you don't play on the first day, which is a good thing. But you play the 1 seed in the next round, right? Who's going to be like USC or UCLA?
Yeah.
You're going to be done. Maybe that's fine because you're playing USC or UCLA. Maybe you're in the tournament if you win the 8-9 game. If you're the 10 seed, you get to play the 15 seed on the first day, which sucks, but you win that one. Then you go play the 7 seed, you win that one. Then you play the 2 seed. And I wonder if getting those 2 wins instead of 1 win helps your tournament resume better than being an 8 or a 9. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, but then they look at the net ranking and you're playing worse teams in the second scenario. I don't know. It's a good
Well,
hypo though.
It's weird if you look at net rankings for the women because
Yeah.
Iowa is a higher net ranking than UW and they're below them in the state. It's just you're probably right. You should probably just be 8 or 9 and you're gonna have to go win that game. And the Huskies, I don't know. They're gonna be anywhere between 8 and 14. Who knows how it goes for them? So
Yep.
we'll see.
That was
All right.
fun. That was fun. Let's move to our main segment. We're bringing back. X's gonna give it to you.
Gonna give it to you.
You like the best tweets of the week. There's a bark. All right. Calm down. You have 1 week of finals and you're acting God.
Monday night, going to a Husky game. Tuesday night, Shap.
That's awesome.
Is it?
Wow. Cheers.
All right.
I'm pulling up these posts as
Yeah.
by the way, if you want to follow us on X, we have Ctown L at Ctown L's. He doesn't post a lot, but if you want an insane amount of Husky basketball recruiting news or football recruiting, at Ctown Kev.
Yeah, you post a lot. I don't post a lot because I'm conflicted because I don't like Elon Musk. So
yeah,
that's
I don't
why
like
I don't
him
post
either.
a lot.
Did you see Jed Fish retweeted me or reposted?
Yeah, I did want to talk about that.
That was wild.
Not only are you a guru, as I've told you many times, now Jed Fish is retweeting you. I told my wife today, I'm like, I don't know. I was trying to explain that you're a guru, and she was like, what? I'm like, no, Kev's like a recruiting guru. I don't even know if he likes it, but he's like kind of stuck in it now because he gets all this information. And then she was like, I'm bored. So she walked away.
Yeah. Christine's the same way.
Okay.
Christine's the exact same way. Only my brother-in-law, who's deep into Husky football, understands. And so I always I have a little group that I text before I send scoops out, or if I don't want to send a scoop out, and I just say, hey, this is what I heard, and everyone gets excited. So,
well, I want to hear about this quarterback later, but not on today's podcast. But this guy who decommitted from Florida State, who has an insane name. What's his last name?
Smeagol.
Schmeagol.
It's like
he can't be the Husky. He can't be the Husky quarterback. His name is Schmeagol. It's a Lord of the Rings character. Here's the first X of the week. In the Unrivaled League, if you pull up, you might get a gradient ticket. Each game night, 12 lucky fans are handed a gradient ticket. 12 tickets for the 12 players competing. The fan holding the ticket of the player that hits the winning shot gets an item from the player after the game. This is awesome.
Awesome.
Unrivaled continues to do great marketing stuff.
So they got in this clip we have, it's Kate Martin signing a autographed basketball. Which brings me to my question to you. Have you ever gotten game used anything at a game when you were a kid, a teenager, and maybe you got a baseball as an adult?
Well, one time in spring training when I was there with my buddies after college.
Yeah.
What was his name? There's an outfielder for the Cubs who threw a ball into the outfield where the grass is in spring training. And I snatched the ball away from like a kid. And just grabbed it and I yelled in his face. I was like, yeah.
That was a low moment.
No, it was great. I got the ball. Felix has gotten a few balls and I've told you this before, he gets like bobbleheads and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever gotten never gotten shoes. or anything like that. I think Felix is the one. He's the key. Lincoln's 14, so he's past the age where people do that. Felix has a perm. He's 11.
Yeah.
He's like right in the age of getting some free stuff. So I got to really milk this and start taking him closer to the court.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about
Or
you?
the I remember a Husky game one time. Um, if you go near the tunnel where the players go in and out, and then maybe I was like 10 or 12, um, they throw like their stuff into the crowd, and I got a sweatband. I got like a wristband
Disgusting. Yeah.
thing, and there was blood on it.
Oh.
I was like, ooh, there's blood on the sweatband. And then they had the number. I didn't know who the player was. So I look up the number. It was the backup kicker. First of all, why is there blood on the backup kicker's wristband? Second of all, why do you need a wristband if you're the backup kicker? You didn't even get in the game.
Yeah,
Third
this
of all,
is awesome.
I'll never forget that. At one point I had the backup kicker's bloody wristband.
Kev, that might be your best story you've ever told on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah,
Hey, I wonder actually if it was my buddy. I know the backup kicker back in the time you would have been there.
Ah, God. What was his name?
I grew up with him, Jim Skursky. Shout
No,
out Jim if you're
no.
listening.
It wasn't him.
He used to do kickoffs to the Huskies. Yeah, he's great. I still see him every once in a while. All right, second tweet. I think this is the one that talks about the years in a row Major League Baseball teams have a different opening day starter
Yeah.
active, right? So the graphic helps, obviously, if we had visuals. But there's positions. So the Giants have had a different opening day left fielder for 18 years in a row, which is pretty incredible. The Guardians, it's 13 in a row right field. White Sox 12 years in a row second base. 10 years in a row, the Mariners have had a different opening day left fielder. And they will have a different one this year. It'll be the 11th year in a row because Randy Arozarena, barring injury, will be the starting left fielder. And he was obviously not on the team to start last year.
Okay, I'm gonna name all of them to you, all 10, and you're gonna name me your favorite.
Okay, I love it.
All right. So last year, I'll start from last year and then moving backwards.
Okay.
Okay, Luke Raley, Jared Kelnick,
Mm.
Jesse Winker,
Mm.
Jake Fraley.
Oh,
All right. This is so bad I don't even know his first name. Marmolejos.
Jose Marmolejos. He started opening day. That's absurd.
Carlos Santana.
Left field.
Oh, no,
Weird.
wait. No, wait, this is bad.
No,
I
you're
lied. I'm
really
looking at the
screwing this
most
up.
common players by games played.
Oh my
So
god.
it's not the opening day starters. Let me look it up.
This is atrocious.
Sorry.
Well, you're just crushing the podcast right now.
I know. I'm sorry.
This is
Okay.
your third worst thing you've done besides away in a manger.
All right.
And when...
All right. So it wasn't that far off. Okay,
Okay.
here we go.
I'm
Dom
ready.
Canzone,
Oh yeah.
Jared
sounds-
Kelnick,
Yep.
Jesse Winker,
Mm-hmm.
Jake Fraley,
Yep.
Jose Marmolejos,
What?
Carlos Santana. Ichiro,
Left field when he came back.
Jared Dyson,
Yeah. Gerard Dyson. He was fast.
Nori Aoki,
Yep.
and then Dustin Ackley, who started at left field 2 years in a row. So that was your last person.
So Dustin Ackley is the last. So we're hoping Randy Arozarena becomes the next one to do two in a row, and
It's like the defense.
better
It's the
he's better than
defense-
Dustin Ackley.
the defense against dark arts position.
I mean,
for
it's
the
not
left-
fair. That's funny. It's not fair to put Ichiro in this category, right? He would be.
Okay, so take out Ichiro. Take out the Hall of Famer.
It's definitely not Marmolejos. That must have been COVID when I didn't watch. I don't think a single game of that year.
It was.
And that's the year that Evan White won the Gold Glove at first base.
Yeah, their first game was July 24th. A loss to Houston.
It seems weird that I wouldn't watch, but they were so bad. And something about COVID, I was watching a lot of soccer and betting on soccer. Anyway, I didn't watch the Mariners that year. Aoki, no. Dyson.
Man, it's bleak.
Man, it's rough. I don't know. Who's yours?
Dude, I kind of
Actually,
like
here's my
Kelnick.
favorite.
I like Kelnick.
Yeah, Kelnick's hard not to because we all had this hope.
This is like potential.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say Jake Fraley, and here's why. I think I told you this summer.
Yeah.
So I went to Cincinnati, right? And I went to grade AP economics test in Cincinnati in May, right about when we started the podcast. So maybe I did it right before. And I walked to Kentucky across the Kentucky River from my hotel in Cincinnati. It's very close on the border. And I went, found some, good bourbon in Kentucky, which was great. Small town. And I walked back and walking across the bridge, it was after I went to a Reds game. The Reds game was over, or it was a day game that had finished. This guy's walking across, and I swear to you, it was Jake Fraley. And he is injured, but he had the same beard, and I was wearing a Mariners hat, and he smiled and he like nodded at me, and there was just me and him, and I should have said, "Are you Jake Fraley?" But I
You
didn't.
should have yelled at him like Felix yelled at Isaiah, like I yelled at Kelsey
Yeah,
Plum.
exactly. But Jake Fraley is a good baseball player, and I think he nodded at me on a bridge. So
That's
Jake Fraley is my
that's a
choice.
great story.
Jake Fraley
Shout
is
out
my
Jake
choice.
Fraley.
Shout out Jake Fraley.
Let's move to our next post. What do
Okay.
we got here?
All right.
Oh,
I think
one's
this is
great.
the one about Paul Skenes, right?
Yes. So let's
Okay.
give some context.
You can give good context for this,
All
I feel
right.
like.
So Topps has this thing where when you make your debut, so Topps is a baseball card company if you're not following. So they make baseball cards and they have this cool thing. So when you make your debut in the major leagues, you wear a special patch and it's an MLB debut patch. And so what they do is they take this patch off of the uniform and they put it in the baseball card. This is nothing new. They put all sorts of things in baseball cards. They put bats, they put pieces of hats.
It's relatively new. So like
Yeah.
for somebody like me that grew up with baseball cards and like the Griffey 1989 Upper Deck was the greatest card ever,
Yeah.
but it's only worth actually like $40 now because they've come up with ways to make cards more rarefied, including a game worn patch, right? So these things are huge pulls.
Yep.
And it's one of one, right? That's the
Yeah,
thing.
there's only one and it's autographed and it's become the most valuable card.
Yep.
Because it's a super rookie card, right?
Yep.
There's literally only one in existence. So, anyways, Paul Skenes was the best rookie, arguably one of the best pitchers in the major leagues.
He was incredible debut. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
So, an 11-year-old.
An 11-year-old pulled the card.
Gets the card.
This is the offer. So the Pirates want it back, right? The Pirates want to have the card because Paul Skenes plays for them. I'm assuming they want to put it up in the park somewhere. I mean, assuming the Pirates owner doesn't want to sell this for himself, right? It's more like so the Pirates have it. So they offer a trade. Similar to if you catch somebody's 100th home run,
yeah,
you'll get a game bat or whatever. But this is a one of one. The 11-year-old was offered 2 Pirate season tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years, a meet and greet with Paul Skenes, 2 Paul Skenes signed jerseys. I have to be careful with this one, but a Pirates game in a suite with Paul Skenes' girlfriend, Livy Dunn. Livy Dunn, let's just say, is the most followed college athlete on Instagram by far.
She is. When we talk about NIL, she's number one. Miles.
She's a gymnast for LSU, and she has like 10 million followers or some ridiculous number. It's probably more than that. And she's dating Paul Skenes. Okay. So there's more. And the 11-year-old declined it. And this is the tweet that I loved so much. I had to send it to you. I have to get back to it. It's somebody who's clearly a Pirates fan. RGM can't even negotiate with an 11-year-old dog. We're never making the playoffs. I thought it was so awesome because it reminded me of the Mariners, and it was just, it's phenomenal. That's what I love about old Twitter.
Yeah.
Old Twitter. That's old Twitter to me. That's what I used to see all the time where I'd scroll for hours because I would just be laughing at people saying the funniest stuff.
Yeah.
So,
their replies are great. There's people talking about like 30 seasons of Pirates tickets.
Right. Well, then I found out the kid lives in Los Angeles. So, like, what are they offering 30 years of Pirates tickets? How good is that? I mean, you could make money off them, I guess. You sell every game. But he's going to take it to auction, and that family's going to get, well, I don't know, millions probably.
Yeah.
At least $1 million. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't wait to see.
it's gambling. Baseball cards is long form gambling. I would not buy that card. Um,
That's fair.
what's
All right, next tweet.
that's great. Um,
You read the next one.
okay, so Schottenheimer was hired by the Cowboys. This is
Yes,
the context.
old Seahawks
Yeah,
OC Brian
yeah.
Schottenheimer.
Speaking of gurus, Adam Schefter from ESPN,
Yep.
NFL Insider, tweeted, "Cowboys are hiring offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer. Wasn't he the Seahawks OC at one
I
point?
just said that, Kev.
Okay, sorry. As their new head coach, Jerry Jones tells ESPN, Brian Schottenheimer, quote, Brian Schottenheimer is known as a career assistant, Jones said, quote, he ain't Brian no more. He is now known as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Okay.
This is such a great tweet because everybody's reply is, what? Like, no one understands what Jerry Jones is saying.
Yeah.
Just to repeat, first of all, he kind of slams his coach he just hired. Brian Schottenheimer is known as a career assistant. Nice, Jerry. You just hired him to be your head coach. You don't have to say that. And then he ain't Brian no more. He's known as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. So he doesn't have a name? Like, what are you even saying, Jerry Jones? This is incredible.
He's getting old.
I love it so much. I love it.
Someone quote tweeted this and just said, had to look about 25 times to make sure this account wasn't at our darn Schefter with a quote like that.
Yeah, one of those fake Twitter accounts. It's not.
That's
It's
my
real.
biggest fear, that someone's going to take my picture, come up with like something kind of near my username, and then just tweet ridiculous things.
That was a little bit of a humble brag, Kev.
Yeah.
Because you're assuming you're big enough on Twitter that somebody's going to make a fake account of you. Good for you, Kev.
Yeah.
You know what they might do if someone wanted to do this? I don't know who it would be. They might just tweet your horrible takes on your podcast.
Yeah.
Like, hey
And just
guys, ever
quotes.
heard Away in a Manger? It's a banger.
Yeah. Well, I've just sunk my presidential election run. Someone's going to dig up
another
this
humble brag. You're going to run for president, Kev? Like, what is happening right now? All right, we got to do one more.
Yeah, let's go to the last one.
Okay, I'll read it. I think this is the last one. So Providence played Georgetown in a men's college basketball game. Okay. And I'm going to give you more context for this at the end, and then we'll move on. Kim English is the coach, who I actually really liked as a player for Providence. He said, our fans are great. They don't stop. It's true to what Providence and Rhode Island are. Gritty, tough. There's a Toyota Sienna that I drive by. It says, never give up. If you have a Toyota Sienna and you live on River Avenue, thank you. There's so many layers that I love about this. Number one, I used to have a Toyota Sienna minivan.
Oh, you were
and so I love that. Second, I love that he just drives by this Toyota Sienna and it inspires him as a coach. But the third part here is Providence has an insanely good crowd, and they're a 9-10 basketball team. Contrast, Friday night, Huskies, decent crowd, not full. This is how they do crowd management. I bought 3 tickets, paid for these seats. They have overflow for the student section that goes up to where we're sitting, and there's no control. There's nobody up there telling them where to sit. And it was 2 hours of students trying to sit in our seats or in the seats next to us all the time. And it was so annoying. I'm like, what a JV operation we're running in Seattle. Go look at Providence. They're full. They're kicking it. They're having a great time in Rhode Island and in Seattle, a metropolitan hub. We can't have an actual crowd that makes any sense. Instead, I have college students saying, are those seats taken? I'm like, yeah, they are taken. These 5-10-year-olds just went to the bathroom. Can you leave them alone? These kids are going to be devastated when they come back and their seats are gone. You jerks.
Can I tell you what impressed me at the Santa Clara Wazoo game?
Yeah.
The student section was rocking.
Nice.
It was a Thursday night game, which makes sense. It was against Wazoo, so people were hyped because this isn't just a typical like bad WCC team.
Yep.
And I just looked up the attendance. There was almost 1,900 people in Levy Center, which is a lot of people for like it's just a random college basketball game on the weekday. And
that's a sad number.
Well,
I know it's cool, good for Santa Clara, but like it's sad.
Arena, You think 1900s is not? That's so many. That to me, that's a lot of people. And then this is my like point off of that. Attendance numbers are a complete lie.
Yes,
Let me tell you why.
I know that.
Okay, so I worked baseball for LMU, like for the athletic department.
That must have been depressing.
Okay, so this associate athletic director, who is quasi sports information director, you have to come up with attendance for the game. And this goes in like the official stats and it's
Yes.
kept and there's record books and stuff. So you don't look at like the tickets. This is what this dude did. He looked at the seats and he said, okay, there's about like 10 people there. All right, let's just
No
multiply
way.
that by like 6. All right,
This is
there's
not what people
there's
actually
like
do.
100 people there. I was like, okay. And then we'd write down 100 people. And now this
They have
associate.
digital tickets now, Kev. They just
Yeah.
use the digital scanning.
Okay, let me continue. This associate AD is at a Power 4 institution working a very high level job. And I wonder if that's how they keep attendance. Okay, continue. So you're saying that digital tickets solves everything.
I don't really care, but there were 7,709 people at the Husky game. So your 1,900 at Santa Clara, my alma mater, is nothing. And the crowd is fine.
Yeah.
I just think I'm tired of going to games and having it be a JV operation.
Yep.
And I feel like that's what I get at the Mariners games now, and that's what I get at any Husky basketball. It's just at the women's game on Wednesday, Kev, there was somebody sitting in front of us who had tickets, and the seats literally didn't exist. They sold tickets, and the guy's like, they should be right here in the aisle. And they're like, we're gonna have to move you. Like, what are they doing over there right now in Husky Land? The only place you can get a legit experience is at Climate Pledge.
Yeah.
They know how to do it. And
you got to lodge a complaint directly with
I'm doing
Joe
it on
Knight.
a podcast. Joe probably listens. Joe,
fix
figure out
this.
when you have this is my complaint. Student overflow. Don't have them come take people's seats who paid money for the seats. And you have to continue to fight off people. And I had to turn to my kids and say, no Dippin' Dots today, because if we leave, someone will take our seats. All right. What time is it, Kev?
It's time for top 5. Did the transition sound better? Did you listen
Kev,
last week?
You think I listened to our own podcast? Come on.
Sometimes
I listen to make sure I don't say the word like too much, which I'm not very good at.
Yeah.
I listen every once in a while, but it feels weird to, hey, would you listen to it on the way into work? Myself. Like, come on.
Can I go first?
Tape. I got books on tape to listen to.
Can I go first since you usually go first?
100% you can, yes.
Okay, so I want to know from you the last 5 Seahawks defensive coordinators.
Oh boy.
So I was thinking OC because of the hire, but I was like, no, let's mix it up.
This is okay. I'm ready. I'm gonna miss somebody, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Do I have to count right now?
Yeah, you can count.
Because I don't know who it is. Because Mike McDonald calls the plays, so I don't know who the DC is. So you have to give me that one.
Okay, Aiden Durd.
Yeah, that's not a person.
Okay, so you can go. Let's not count him, and then let's do the next 5 then.
Klint Hurt is in there.
Yep, he was.
He's
the
not
last
he was
Carroll.
the last one. Okay.
Last Carroll era. Yeah.
Okay. Gus Bradley.
Yep.
Dan Quinn.
That's 3.
And there's 2 people between Klint Hurt and Dan Quinn. Man. I don't think this guy was ever the DC, but they had the guy from the Bears whose last name is like Desai.
Nope.
He was like a special assistant or something, but he wasn't DC.
Let me give you some hints.
Yeah, give me some hints.
One of them's a junior.
This is the one I feel like I should know, and it's just not coming to my head right now.
And then the other guy helped coach the Legion of Boom.
Oh, Ken Norton Jr. is one of them.
Yep. So that's your junior. So you're at 4.
Ooh, Legion of Boom. Coach the Legion of Boom?
So Dan Quinn leaves. This person is
Gus Bradley left, and then Dan Quinn became the coach, and then Dan Quinn left, and somebody else became the coach. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get
it. It's Chris Richard.
Oh, yeah. And then he went to the Cowboys.
And
Yeah.
now he's no longer Chris.
Employed. Mm.
He's the defensive back coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That seems like a downgrade.
Well, certainly it is. Yeah. He had.
I think he might surface for a Vegas position.
I could see that. I could
He
see
has
him.
he has a lot of history with Pete Carroll.
He might be the DC there. I could see him getting that shot again.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Kev. Those DCs have all been not great. Well, it's weird because they all have success in some ways. Like Gus Bradley is still kicking, shockingly. I think isn't he the Colts coach, or he's the defensive coordinator for the Colts, one of the two. And Dan Quinn, obviously. It's kind of wild, how that works. But hopefully they'll be better with what's the guy's name they have now? Aiden Durr?
Aiden Durr.
Okay, I feel like I should know who that is now. Sorry, Aiden.
Yeah, and Dan Quinn freaking made the NFC Championship.
And
Crazy.
He almost won a Super Bowl. They were up 28-3 on Tom Brady.
Crazy.
That's crazy that he got fired like soon after that. He had a great run with the Falcons. He's obviously a good coach.
Yeah.
So Seahawks could have had him, but maybe Mike McDonald will be good. All right, here's my top 5 related to how we kicked off the show. Storm draft picks. I think this should be a layup for you. Part of it. You're not going to get all 5. That's the problem. But I'm going to give you a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 7 names who are top 5 picks in Storm history.
Oh yeah, I can do this.
You can get 4,
sleep.
and you might not get the 5th. That's the problem.
All right, Sue Bird.
Yes, 2002, number 1 overall pick.
Lauren Jackson.
2001, number 1 overall pick.
Jewell Loyd.
2015, number 1 overall pick.
Brianna Stewart.
2016, number 1 overall pick.
And
Pause there. I want you to think about the success rate of those 4 number 1 overall picks. Those are all players who will probably be
in the
Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And were multiple-time All-Stars, WNBA champions, an incredible success rate for the Storm. Contrast that with just any other sport, right? Think about people's number 1 overall picks and what happens to them. The Storm have nailed it. Okay? Now, they have a player who was drafted 2nd overall, a player who was drafted 3rd overall, and a player 5th overall. I guarantee you don't know the name of the person who was 2nd and was 3rd. You will potentially know the name of the person who was drafted 5th overall.
I need some hints.
UCLA, 2018, playing in the Unrivaled League currently, went on to play for multiple teams after the Storm. Short guard. This will help people who like the Storm. They're getting this right now. 2018, 5th overall.
Short guard.
Has the last name of a country. You don't know WNBA
French.
players.
France.
Have you heard the name Jordan Canada?
No.
Okay, Kev, you need to watch more women's basketball.
I should just watch Unrivaled.
Yeah, Jordan Canada is a legit backup guard in the league currently.
That's such a cool name.
She was okay in the Storm. She went to the Sparks. She was better. She's kind of a journey person, finding teams where she can contribute, but she was 5th overall. Here are the ones you're not going to get, because if you don't know Jordan Canada, you're not going to get these names. Yeah. Okay. 2015, I had no idea. We had Jewell Loyd first. We also had the 3rd overall pick that year.
And who was it?
Kalina Mosqueda Lewis. She averaged 5.8 points in her rookie year, and that was the high for her career.
And
so 5.1 points per game is the 3rd overall pick.
I just want to remind our listeners, Brian said at the top of the hour that the draft is deeper this year.
Well, the draft is deeper now than it was then. Before. It's just better players, right?
Yeah.
But players the Storm could have had who still play in the NBA right now. Elizabeth Williams was the number 4 pick. She's a career double-double type of player. Hamby, who plays for the Sparks. There's some kind of bad players later. 2nd round is Natasha Cloud. She's Felix has a crush on her. No big deal. She's a good guard for the Phoenix Mercury. So there were players, but that wasn't a great draft versus, yeah, in the last couple of years, it's been pretty good. Okay. In 2012, second overall, Shakina Strickland.
Wouldn't
I was
have
not
died.
watching the Storm enough at that time to know Shakina Strickland. She actually averaged 7.2 in her career and was 10 points per game in 2013. So she was a decent player for the Storm, but I just wasn't watching a lot of Storm basketball then. So they've had top 5 picks, so they can't blow this one.
That's a
Please.
good one.
Yeah. I
That
kind of
was
set you up because I knew you'd get 4 and you wouldn't get
Yeah.
5. But, I thought the listeners might enjoy
no, that was good.
top 5 Storm history.
Never miss this again. That was a good episode. Nice, lots of news, lots of things
So
going
much
on.
news for January.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about Capo Caco.
I don't even know what that is.
He's the guy the Kraken traded for from the Rangers. He's been awesome since he came to the Kraken.
There you go.
I might write about him. This is what I say every time
Yeah.
as we end. I might write about that, and then I
Yeah.
don't.
Well, we did write about we are going to see Husky Women's Basketball Notebook.
Men's notebook will be up Tuesday morning as well. So
I wrote a nice little recruiting update. Lots of things going on. It all might be pointless because of the portal, because the coaching staff might leave.
I should probably turn our segment into something to write about with the Storm.
Yeah.
It's an under-resourced market, right? There's not that many people writing about the WNBA on the internet. So
Oh yeah, and they're all on Substack. So
yeah, they're all on Substack.
Everyone would help each other. It would be
Yeah.
great.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.